Now, Zephyr Teachout is in the middle of a very tight race with her Republican opponent, John Faso. Now, Teachout, of course, is a Democrat. She is an anti-corruption law professor who is backed by Senator Bernie Sanders. She is known as one of the Bernie-crats. Now, interestingly enough, in a boneheaded move, the Republicans are going to attempt to use that relationship against her. In fact, the NRCC made this hilarious tone-deaf ad paid for by outside money to attack Teachout for being close to Bernie Sanders. Check this out.
Remember that zany professor who always pushed their liberal agenda? That's Professor Zephyr Teachout. She supports Obama's dangerous Iran nuclear deal, and Professor Teachout supports higher property taxes, higher energy taxes, and higher estate taxes. That's probably why Teachout loves Socialist Senator Bernie Sanders. He's from Vermont, just like her. Zany Professor Zephyr Teachout. She's just not one of us. NRCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I don't know what's more ridiculous about that ad. The Birkenstocks or the Che Guevara picture or the little Bernie action figure, which, by the way, I kind of want one. I'm just saying. So that's what they're trying to do. That's the ad. And look at even the Socialism for Dummies book, right? Wait, I thought that somebody who's a hardcore socialist already knows about it and doesn't have to read a book. Okay, all that aside, this is a ridiculous ad. And it's ridiculous in a lot of different ways, but I'm going to really focus on the Red Scare bullshit. So, and that's exactly what it is. Oh, she's a socialist. She's going to raise your taxes. And even the Iran deal stuff, right? Completely non-factual, straight up bullshit. Now, there's the substance of it. Now, here's the politics of it, right? So basically, they're saying, hey, don't vote for Zephyr Teachout. She's too close to that crazy Bernie Sanders. Well, there's only one problem with that message. Bernie Sanders is incredibly popular right now. Let me go to some polls. His favorability ratings are higher than those of President Barack Obama, who, by the way, is sitting in the highest favorability rating of his entire presidency. He's going out with a bang. He is at 40. He is at the highest numbers in 45 months. Not only that, but Bernie Sanders obviously more popular than Hillary Clinton, and his favorability is 19 points higher than both Donald Trump and Speaker Paul Ryan. He may be the most popular politician in America. And Republicans are saying, oh, see, Zephyr Teachout, friend of Bernie Sanders. You're idiots. What a stupid, boneheaded move. This may be the most inept political ad strategy I have ever seen. Why? Because he's super popular. And not only that, but it's not just so much as him being popular. It's the positions that he and both Teachout tend to share. For example, getting money out of politics is one of their main things, right? Teachout, Bernie Sanders, both have that very, very high on the list, right? They overwhelmingly support getting the money out of politics. That is super popular. Raising the minimum wage, also incredibly popular with Americans. That's what Zephyr Teachout and Bernie Sanders also have in common. And not to mention, getting corporations to pay their fair share in taxes is super popular, you schmucks. You idiots. You don't get it. Like, they look at these policies and they go, well, who could like that? I mean, I'm a rich person. I don't want my taxes to go up. I don't want people who work for me to actually make a living wage. That sucks. Socialist. I know. Let's have a great idea and release this ad tying them both together. Oh, it'll be so great. And we're just going to use the word socialism over and over and over and over again. Typical Red Scare bullshit. And look, I'm not just saying that these positions are popular just because I like these positions. No, I actually have facts behind me. Nationwide, according to polling, 71% of voters said the amount of money that corporations and the wealthy spend on political campaigns impact issues that affect their family. 75% of voters have an unfavorable opinion of Citizens United. There's money in politics. People overwhelmingly all over the country, not just in New York, despise money in politics. When asked about solutions, voters overwhelmingly support a constitutional amendment to overturn Citizens United and increase disclosure requirements. Something, again, Bernie Sanders and Zephyr Teachout both believe in and have campaigned on. What about the minimum wage? Well, on the minimum wage, most Americans agree we need to raise the wage. Now, we disagree on what to raise it to in what amount of time. A lot of Americans say, okay, 10-10 is pretty good. There are slightly less Americans that say, okay, $12 an hour, and a little bit less than half of Americans polled say $15. So, and look, that's what Zephyr Teachout and Bernie Sanders ran on, is $15 an hour. Now, in New York, it's slightly different, because according to 2/3 of New Yorkers, and this is thanks to a Siena College poll, 2/3 of New Yorkers support raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Where is Zephyr Teachout running? New York. New York City's 19th district. Kind of a popular position if you're running in that area. I wonder what John Faso believes in. Oh, right. None of that stuff. And finally, when it comes to paying taxes, for example, well, a Gallup poll had 62% of Americans think that the wealthy still pay too little in taxes. So, taxing the rich, taxing the corporations, kind of a popular idea. So, and look, there is another good reason that the Republicans, I think, made a stupid, boneheaded decision in running this crappy ad. See, New York, the 19th Congressional District, where they're running, is a slightly Democratic-leaning area. Okay, so she's a Democrat, she's running in a Democratic area. Now, right now, the Republicans control this seat. Now, recently, Bernie Sanders went to campaign with Teachout. What did Bernie Sanders, how did he do when he was running in the primary in New York's 19th Congressional District? He won it overwhelmingly in the primary with 58% of the vote. That is one of the best districts that he had, the best performing district for Bernie Sanders that he had ever had in that state. 58% of the vote. He is not only popular nationwide, he's popular in that district, and he's been campaigning his ass off, not just for Hillary Clinton, but for Zephyr Teachout. Because they can win. Because this is a winnable seat. And Republicans, if you want your guy to get his ass kicked, which is probably going to happen, keep doing what you're doing. Keep tying Teachout to Bernie Sanders. Keep talking about how close they are. See what happens. You're going to get your ass kicked. And look, let me give you some information about John Faso. Just a little quick primer. See, Faso is a lobbyist for a pipeline company. Now, there are two things that Americans really don't like right now. Lobbyists and pipelines. Especially when it comes to a Democratic-leaning district. Also, they despise outside money. And that's where this ad is coming from. The NRCC. The National Republican Council, or Communications Council or something. I can't remember the name. The NRCC. I know it's a Republican committee that does these kinds of ads. Now, since this is outside money, that means Republicans nationally are really afraid of losing the seat. That means the Teachout campaign has been very effective at getting out their message. They could win this thing. But see, that's what we've seen with a lot of these Bernie-crats running against Republicans. They don't know how to counter their populist message because they're in the pocket of the corporate America. So what they do is that they'll attempt to smear their opponent. In this case, in the case of Zephyr Teachout, she's with that crazy socialist Bernie Sanders. In other cases, for example, Ohio, where you have Jeff Rezebek versus David Sparks, who I interviewed on the show. Well, Rezebek is essentially saying this guy's a pedo creeper because he can't go after him on the issues, because on the issues, Rezebek, as well as Faso, are absolutely wrong. And their positions are not popular. But yeah, so they're going back to the Red Scare. Now look, that might work on some older voters. I understand that, right? But on younger people, it's not as effective as it has been before. For example, I have a study by the Pew Research Center that looked at how millennials feel about socialism. Well, 49% of millennials view socialism in a favorable light, compared to 43% who view it unfavorably. And then 46% of millennials have positive views of capitalism, and 47% have a negative view of capitalism. So keep calling her a socialist. Keep saying that word, and you're going to get a lot of millennials out there to vote. And besides, Bernie Sanders, we all know, if you live in the world of facts, you know that he's not a socialist. He's a democratic socialist. What does that mean? It means you're in favor of European-style social programs. For example, Medicare, Social Security, universal health care, higher wages, more unions, protections for workers, and yes, to pay for some of this stuff, higher taxes on the super ultra rich. That's what that means. Doesn't mean the government's gonna take your shit. That's not how this whole thing works. And millennials are smart enough to know this because hey, they have the entire power of they have all the knowledge of the entire world in the palm of their hands. So, good luck, Republicans. On this attack, man, you're going to need all the luck in the world to beat this combination, especially if you're running ridiculous ads like this. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent, non-corporate media, go to our Patreon page and become a patron. Patreon.com/TYTNation.